Imagine this. A man boards a plane with nothing more than a briefcase and a calm smile. He blends in perfectly with holiday travelers rushing home for Thanksgiving. Nobody notices him, nobody suspects him, but within hours, that same man will hold an aircraft hostage, demand $200,000 in cash, and then vanish into the night never to be seen again. To this day, no one knows who he was, no one knows where he came from. History remembers him only as D.B. Cooper, the man who hijacked a plane, leapt into a storm, and disappeared into legend. It was November 24th, 1971. Portland International Airport was crowded with families, businessmen, and students heading home for the holiday. In the middle of it all stood a man in a dark suit, wearing a plain black tie and carrying a small briefcase. He looked ordinary, too ordinary. He paid just $20 for a one-way ticket to Seattle. The name on his ticket, Dan Cooper, Flight 305, a Boeing 727, was routine a short hop to Seattle. Passengers chatted, the crew prepared for takeoff, and the engines roared as the plane lifted into the cold evening sky. Cooper sat in seat 18C. He lit a cigarette, ordered a bourbon and soda, and quietly watched the world outside the window. Then everything changed. He handed a folded note to flight attendant Florence Schaffner. She slipped it into her pocket, assuming it was a phone number. But then Cooper leaned closer and whispered words that froze her blood. "Miss, you'd better read that note. I have a bomb." She opened it. The message was simple but terrifying. "I want $200,000 in cash for parachutes. No tricks or I'll do it." To prove he wasn't bluffing, Cooper cracked open his briefcase. Inside, Schaffner saw a jumble of red cylinders, wires, and a battery. It looked real enough, and his calm, steady voice made the threat even more chilling. This wasn't the ranting of a madman. This was a man in complete control. The cockpit was alerted. The pilots radioed the control tower. Within minutes, the FBI and airline officials were scrambling. Meanwhile, the passengers remained unaware of the danger. Cooper ordered another drink, smoked, and waited with unnerving patience. When the plane finally landed in Seattle, his demands were met. Authorities delivered $200,000 in marked bills and four parachutes. In return, Cooper released all 36 passengers unharmed. The crew stayed on board, but Cooper wasn't finished. He ordered the pilots to refuel and take off again. This time, he gave chillingly specific instructions. Fly south toward Mexico, keep the plane below 10,000 feet, maintain a speed under 200 miles per hour, keep the landing gear down, and most importantly, keep the rear staircase lowered. The crew complied, terrified but obedient. Outside, the weather worsened. Heavy rain lashed against the windows. Strong winds rocked the aircraft. Somewhere over the wilderness of Washington, in freezing rain and darkness, Cooper prepared for his escape. He strapped the bundles of money to his body, tied on a parachute, and calmly walked to the back of the plane. He looked at the crew one last time. Then, without hesitation, he stepped out into the storm. The pilots felt the plane jolt as the rear staircase whipped in the wind. Then silence. Cooper was gone. When Flight 305 landed again, there was no sign of him. No parachute, no money, no body. The only trace of the hijacker was his black clip-on tie, left neatly on his seat. The manhunt that followed was one of the largest in U.S. history. Codenamed NORJAK, it involved the FBI, state police, and military units. They scoured forests, rivers, and mountains. They questioned suspects ranging from paratroopers to criminals. But Cooper had vanished as if swallowed by the storm. Years later, in 1980, a young boy camping with his family on the banks of the Columbia River found 5,800 buried in the sand. The bills matched Cooper's ransom money, but no other cash was ever recovered. Theories multiplied. Some investigators believed Cooper died that night, his body lost in the dense wilderness. Others argued he was too careful, too calm, too skilled to have failed. Maybe he survived, slipped into a new identity, and lived the rest of his life in silence. Over the years, countless suspects emerged. Some claimed to be Cooper, even confessing on their deathbeds, but none could be confirmed. The FBI chased leads for decades, but in 2016, after 45 years, they officially closed the case. Yet the mystery refused to die. D.B. Cooper became more than a man, he became folklore. Books, documentaries, and conspiracy theories kept his legend alive. Was he a mastermind who outwitted the FBI, a desperate gambler, or just a ghost story that will never be solved? What we do know is this: one man with nothing more than a plan and a briefcase managed to hijack a plane in broad daylight, vanish into the sky, and leave behind one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in American history. So, what do you think? Did DB Cooper survive that stormy night and vanish into a new life? Or did he perish in the wilderness, his secret lost forever beneath the trees? Share your theory in the comments. I'd love to hear what you believe. And if you enjoy stories like this one, mysteries that remain unsolved, chilling cases that blur the line between fact and legend, make sure you subscribe and join me here every week, because the next mystery may be even stranger than this one.